All right, I'm about to tell y'all something y'all don't want to hear. So this whole this whole thing with the streets, and a lot of y'all not gonna want to hear this, but let me tell you something. The streets follow you. Now, there's two ways I'm going to explain this. First way is probably going to be the most logical way. Everybody's gonna, understand this, but that doesn't mean it's the truth. Sometimes people can't understand beyond what they can see. And then the second way is going to be a different type of way. And I think you should definitely keep your eyes open about that, because it might be leaning more of towards the second way than the first. So boom, let me tell you why the streets follow you. Let me just speak the norm stuff that, just not hidden information. So when you're in the streets, you beef with people over, whatever the case, money, drugs, sometimes a lot of times over nothing. It gets to a point where, hopefully it never gets there. And I will never want it to go there, God forbid, but somebody, something happens to somebody's family or friends, somebody pass away, something happens to them, right? Once you get there, there's no going back. There's no way you can remove your wrong in that. Well, when it's connected to that person's family, like, I just feel like that's something that's gonna hurt them for years. Something that they probably can live through, but they never would get over. So, this is why I aim towards bringing awareness, and why I feel like we need to just completely shut the whole thing down. But let me keep going on my story. So they're never going to forget that. They're always going to remember that. You also have to remember, when you're a type of person who inflicts or causes a lot of negative, things to happen, or you're always violent. You're involved in violent acts most of the time. 9 times out of 10, it's might be a situation that come up where you're not going to be, on top. So this is what I'm saying, is following you. If you're continuously doing it, there's not going to always be a good outcome from what's happening. So sometimes you have to stop. Now, wait. Just because you stop, and this is another unfortunate thing, because a lot of people, want to change their lives, want to better themselves, but when they stop, they somehow still end up, going back to that life, or their mind is programmed, to still think the same way, even though they're trying to fight it. Certain things might ring a certain bell, and then they might react a certain way, where, they could have just probably turned the other cheek, but because throughout their life they was in the jungle, they was fighting for their life. When something does happen, instead of trying to de-escalate the situation, they go full throttle. So it's a programming. It's your mind being programmed, because doing something time and time again is not, easily just dismissed. You can't just cold turkey everything. So you got to keep in mind that, the way your mind works, it's on go a lot of the times. It's you ready to jump at any situation, anything that happens. So that can cause that life or that lifestyle to continue to follow you. Also, just because you gave it up don't mean somebody else gave it up. So they might follow you, and see you, years later, and now they like, this is the time for me to act. This is the time for me to do something. Not only that, a lot of times, or sometimes, even though supposedly they got rules, but them rules is always broken. People who don't have anything to do with anything could get hurt. They can go after you just because they can't get the other person. Now, boom. That's the logical breakdown of, the street life following you. Now, let me give you another perspective. So you got to look at energy, right? They say it's just recycled. It never really, truly go away. It's just recycled. Like, we all using the same energy, supposedly, right? But you got to understand your energy. What type of energy are you putting in the universe? You're putting negative energy in the universe. Negative. So no matter what you do, that negative energy is going to come back around to you. Now, I made a podcast before saying that people tend to go towards the drill, the rap life, doing this, doing that, doing illegal actions, doing negative stuff for money. Because it's not all because they actually had a problem with somebody. I'm talking about legitimate, like, this is a reason for me to do something to you because I need to defend my family It's not always that. Sometimes people just want more money. So I said this. I said, and I believe in, I'm a spiritual person, I believe in God. But I said, think about it. If a person know, all right, by me dissing this person and causing this negativity and getting involved in his life, it's a high chance that I could end up jail or somebody could do something to me. I'm talking about willingly knowing this. But then on the other end, they know, but if I do this, it's possible I could be rich. I could make a lot of money. I could go viral. I could do that. I could do this. So people will sometimes sell their soul. Literally, it's more modern, but that's what it is, because you understand that I can possibly be rich off this, but then on the other flip side, something can happen to you. So you got to understand that energy plus everything else that's coming with it is putting you in a situation where no matter, like, it's almost to a point where no matter what, you can't get away from it. Like, that's why, I try to bring awareness. Like, that's why I did the web series, right? I try to bring awareness to it. But on the same note, like, there's some people you can't get through to because, and it's not always their fault. They have been through so much. They have dealt with so much pain that you can't possibly expect them to listen to you and just be like, yo, this is what I'm gonna do. They have to do that because they want to. There's some people that you just gotta allow them to say, yo, I'm done with this. Because it's like a bloodline, and not a bloodline energy, but it's like I don't want to say bloodline because I don't want to say if something don't happen to you, it's bound to happen to your kid or something like that. I don't want to say that because that would just be that type of thinking is just, I just can't. I wouldn't want to believe that. But what I will say is, if you involve yourself in that life, right, and you have a kid and you don't explain the differences, or you don't, well, I can't say if you don't explain the differences, because sometimes you explain it, but if you live in it, it's still being rubbed off on them, even though you are explaining to them like, yo, this is not what you need to be doing. What you need to do is this, that, and that. But at the end of the day, if that's what they seeing, if that's what they seeing, like the success you're getting, they seeing the, how popular you are, or whatever the case may be, or the respect or the fear, and that's what they're looking up to. So they're not gonna understand that, I can accumulate just about as much as he has by doing this, which is something totally different. They're not gonna think like that. They're just gonna think straight, like, oh, this is what he doing, this is what I need to do. But like I said, it's deeper than that. I'm starting to feel like, when you look at the shootings, right, this is so many people, that die from gang violence and just that alone. Like, just think about how much negative energy that is, how much hatred, and and this is decades, this is years of violence, continuous. That energy, that violence is being recycled and reused by the youth, and it's to the point where, yes, they see it, but I feel like it's so strong that I feel like it's more than just something that they like. You can see. It's more of a a flow. Like I said, the universe is recycling energy. It's more of a continuous flow through the youth. And I feel like even though they might not want to get involved in something like that, in this area, in these neighborhoods, it's contaminated with that energy. Like you feel it even before something happens. Like this is why they say like sometimes they be like, oh, you gotta have street smarts, which I don't understand. Is that it's not always street smarts. A lot of times, you ever heard somebody say, yo, I could feel a room. You could feel it. You could feel an area. You could feel a neighborhood. You could tell like, oh, I'm not supposed to be over here. Or I'm not supposed. This is not. It's not always about just the looks, because you could go places in the city and it could look disgusting, but you still feel safe. That energy is not the same. You go somewhere else where it can possibly look similar, but then you like, nah, this energy is different over here. So you got to understand that energy you putting out is strong, and it's so many people doing it that it's like, to get away from it or to avoid it, it's extremely difficult. I said something about the chemicals that your body release when you're stressed or when you're not stressed. So, let's just say being happy and being stressed. Those are two different chemicals, two different reactions, right? What people don't understand is, well, actually, let me not talk about the good yet. Let me talk about the bad, because people definitely can relate to the bad. So people got to understand that negative energy you have, that stress that you're releasing, the chemicals that stress release in your body is literally killing you. It's literally killing you. It's no good for you. We all can acknowledge that stress is never the option. You never want to be overworked or under so much stress for a certain amount of time. That's literally going to kill you. Like, it's not healthy in no type of way. So you got to understand the chemicals you release in your body when you're stressing is harmful to you, and your body don't know the difference when you're stressing over something that actually didn't happen and when you're just stressing because you're just exhausted. It's just so much going on with this, with that problem, with that. So you gotta sometimes understand you can't allow that stress to stay in your body, because the longer that stress stays, the more chemicals your brain and your body and that's releasing throughout the entire body and causing you to get sick or whatever the case may be. So on the flip side, if you could understand that, then you could possibly understand that when you're happy and when you're doing positive things, chemicals are still being released that can possibly heal you. That's why when you see somebody say they stay in good spirits, or they stay in good faith, or they keep they hopes up, it's not just saying it. Of course, we have, somebody might say, a miracle, which could be God working, but at the same time, with the body, the way the body is made, just scientifically speaking, the positive chemicals is being released to the body and healing the body. Like, we hear it time and time again. We don't need a bunch of medicines. We don't need all this enhancements, and your body produces everything you need. Like just think about something as simple as a cut, and how your body can literally heal them tissues and make it to where you're back to 100%. There's no cut. There's nothing. Everything is completely healed. That's just on the surface, on the outer of the that's just the skin. Think about internal, what the body is doing. The work is doing inside. Like, it's doing a lot. We just can't see it. So therefore, because we can't see it, we think we don't understand that it's working, that this is happening. We know, okay, we have a cut. All right, my cut gonna heal. I'm good. You see a cut, you don't think nothing of it. But something internal happens, like this, like, oh, this your liver, or this that. You're like, oh man, I gotta get medicine, because you can't see in your body. You don't know. You've been sick. You getting better actually, but you go to the doctor and you say, and this is not no medical treatment, so I don't want nobody to take this as a medical treatment or anything like that. If you're sick, if something's wrong, please go see a doctor. But what I'm trying to tell you is you gotta like fight through certain things. If it's something you can deal with, don't pop a Advil or Tylenol just because you got a headache. Let play its course. Maybe you might be hungry trying to eat some fruits, and this is something I gotta work on because I eat a lot of bad foods too. Maybe you need to take a nap. Maybe it's just maybe your body is just balancing itself out. You gotta understand that them energies and them chemicals are real. So the energy and the chemical, they both are real. So going back to the streets, that energy, that amount of energy, that amount of violence is extremely, like, it's insane. Like, that amount of violence is like should have never happened. So that's why I'm always stressing, like, this has to stop. I would never want the youth or anybody, kids or my kids, to deal with the streets, especially the way it is now. So I just wanted to talk about that because I feel like a lot of people are not understanding like how energy work and how the chemical reactions in the brain is, and how acknowledgement is it's crucial. You have to acknowledge when you're doing something that you're trying to fix. If you have a habit of doing something that's negative, the first step is acknowledging that you're doing it when you're doing it. Sometimes you do it so much you don't know. You're like, nah, it's cool, it's okay. No, you gotta do something. You gotta stop. It's hard. Of course, you may not be able to just go cold turkey on it, but you could just decrease the amount of times you do it if it's negative. If you was doing it 10 times, try to do it 7. Like in that cases, maybe it might be a bad eating habit or whatever the case may be. But you can relate that to pretty much anything. So, yeah, like we gotta gain control. You gotta gain control, man, and I'm not doing this for like. I'm not trying to be like super famous or anything like that. I just want to, the best thing for me, I feel like one of the best things in life, is the impact you have on people's lives. Let me give you a quick example. So I work in retail, right? The best managers I ever had, right? They all said the same thing. They all said similar things. And I noticed when they said that, I always noticed that those was the best leaders I ever had, best managers, best supervisors. And that's what made me a better supervisor or whatever the case may be. Just out of work, it made me better. They always said, I'm not a good manager if I can't get you promoted. If I can't help you level up or get to the next level, then I failed. And every supervisor, manager, or person who ever said that they want to help me help build, they was the best person I ever worked with. It was to the point where it didn't even feel like work. That those are special people. When you go and you work somewhere and you working, but it don't really feel like work. You just like, yeah, got to go to work. I remember there was one time, and this really happens. That's why when it did, I understood that it happened. Like I noticed and I acknowledged it. Like, yo, that's crazy. And I noticed it while it was happening because I had I'm gonna be honest, I didn't work that many jobs, but I worked jobs for a long time. Like I had one job for like 15 years, and I have another job for like 8. I didn't have like 3 jobs though, but yeah. So I noticed that when I came to work, like when the weekends end, because I think I was off the weekend or whatever, or maybe I wasn't. I didn't feel upset. I didn't feel mad. I didn't feel unhappy. Like, dang, I gotta go to work tomorrow. I was never like that because the people I work with was amazing. It was fun, and we literally performed at one of the highest levels. Like, we were so competitive with other stores, and we all always performed. But it was because the work environment was good. It was because the relationship to the people you work with on a daily was good. There was no bad blood. There was no bad chemistry. They actually cared. If I said, I'm gonna be honest, I can't make it today. They was like, wow. I'm like, I'm gonna be honest, it's just one of them days I just need, time to myself. You can never say that at work. What? And I'm gonna be honest with you, I never said that to them. But I know if I would have, they would have let me go with no problem. They would have been like, yo, you good, you could do it. It's fine. But you know why I never did it? Because I always wanted to go to work. Because it was, why wouldn't I make easy money? I'm gonna go to work, we're gonna have a good time, we're gonna kill it. We're gonna do our job, we're gonna hit numbers, and we're gonna be good. Why would I want to call out? Why would I want to miss money? But then when you have that bad environment, you always want to call out. Actually, you're looking for a new job, you're doing this, you're doing that. And I'm gonna be honest, there's no shade towards people, but not everybody can create that environment. That's not easy. That's not easy. That's not easy. You know why that's not easy? Because that person is taking so much negative, because everything's not peaches and cream. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of stuff that's happening behind the scenes that they're not letting you know. There's some people that, might be a leader, and when they deal with certain things, they take it out on the staff, or they take it out on the rest of the team. When you have a team, you have to be willing to take that and make the proper adjustments. It's not about, going, down people's necks or paws or writing people up because this didn't happen. That you got to make the adjustments. You're the leader, right? Make the adjustments. Make sure the trainings are getting done. Make sure that everything is in the proper place where the performance could increase. But some people don't know how to do that without being foot to neck or whatever the case may be. Some people don't know how to create that great work environment at the same time they have performance. Not everybody can do that. That's why that's a talent. That person, to me, of course, you can't just work anywhere, but if it's a job they could do, they could create the best work environment. They can make it to where nobody's calling out. You barely have call outs. Everybody's having fun. Everybody's holding each other down. Why would somebody want to, cover another person's shift or job if it's a negative work environment? And I'm gonna be honest, this is a issue throughout in so many jobs. I don't want to put it in a category, and I don't know how I went from what I was talking about to this, but it's just, this is what I do. I talk about everything. That's why you see the t.a.e, because I talk about everything. I can be talking about that and then flip to that, but ice cream trucks out. But yeah, that's just that's just something that I had on my mind, man. I just wanted to, let you guys hear about that. But with the energy and the chemicals in your mind, we gotta fix it, guys. Gotta get on point with it. Gotta start, addressing these situations and, speaking on it and talking about it. All right.